Welcome to Budget Management Process Descriptions, and thanks for your interest. We hope you'll take time after this short presentation to explore the other Triad Unlimited presentations on YouTube, follow us on LinkedIn, and visit our website to see all our services and training offerings. Asset management budgeting may require development of communication and coordination between financial business processes and asset management processes, because we have to establish processes to prepare and track asset management budget, report deviations, and determine asset lifecycle costs. And guess how many processes are associated with this function? Yep, there's 4. We've got one process that started out as budget preparation, and this is just a process to prepare asset management budget so we're consistent. We've got a second process to track the budget. Once it's in play, we need to be able to track the management budget performance. Then, when we're tracking it and we notice something's wrong, we have a budget deviation reporting process. And then finally, we want to be able to measure the cost of operating and owning an asset throughout its entire life instead of just worrying about what it costs to buy it. There are benefits associated with budget management. Budget management preparation ensures that asset management cost is accurately attributed in the budget. Budget variances can be accurately tracked to their sources. Categorizing budget variance can streamline budget deviation reporting. And budgeting for the total cost of ownership can reduce asset lifecycle costs by 40%. First process in budget management is budget preparation. Budget preparation methodology establishes a process to prepare asset management budgets. But how can we know how to begin planning a budget if we don't know if spending on the inputs is high or low? Or what if we don't even know the spend categories for asset management? The AMP has to contain a process that allows identification of asset management-related line items. We have to have a goal based on best practice. In asset management, the optimal spend by an organization on asset management is 2 to 4% of replacement asset value, or RAV. That's the best bang for the buck and simply represents the point at which annual maintenance costs for an asset are the most effective relative to the cost of replacing the asset. This is called the E1 performance indicator. So, for example, if the replacement asset value, RAV, is $100,000, then we would expect to spend between 2 and 4% of that amount on maintenance and taking care of the asset, or $2,000 to $4,000. If we're operating in this range, it's indicative that the AMP processes are in place and functional. Asset management is focused on efficiency and effectiveness. One of the best indicators of these attributes is improvement in labor cost relative to the amount of work getting done. Things get done quicker and correctly is the thing to be proven. So by including a line item in the asset management budget, savings attributable to asset management can be quantified. Likewise, a material cost budget line item in the asset management budget serves to indicate less wasted materials, less incorrect parts, and less expediting expenses. The service cost budget item is useful in indicating transfer of labor type from in-house to contracted services. Note that asset management is not primarily a cost savings project. Asset management identifies the true necessary size of the asset management program to effectively and efficiently protect the business from the consequences of high priority failure modes. This effort might decrease costs by minimizing waste, rework, and unexpected downtime, but costs for newer technology or training might hit the bottom line in a different way. The point is that asset management budget line items help justify and sustain asset management when compared to the benefit of increased uptime. Budget tracking methodology establishes processes to track asset management budget performance. There are 3 primary reasons for budget variance: errors, changing business conditions, and unmet expectations. When asset management line items are incorporated into the budget, they can be isolated for tracking and performance analysis. After tracking the budget line items for some period, it's okay to stop and revise the budget based on data. The necessity to call time out and adjust the budget on the fly should not be a standard practice. It's probably best reserved for part of the annual budget creation, but there may be adjustments necessary early in the AMP implementation as processes mature. You want to analyze variance based on the line item type. For example, if labor costs are a variance, research the use of contractors, project or shutdown schedule, work backlog, and other labor-related areas. Stay focused on variance analysis that matters to asset management by sticking to the labor, material cost, and service cost line items. Budget deviation reporting establishes a process to report budget deviations. When variances in the budget are encountered, they need to be communicated, at least throughout the AMP leadership team. This process is typically part of the Asset Management Council usual business during their regular meetings. To report effectively, keep a few things in mind when developing this process. Develop a template for budget variance reporting and deliver the report concisely without undue speculation or detail. It can be as simple as a statement of the variance, the reason for it, and the potential risk to the business. There's a difference between comparing a month to another month and comparing a month budget number to actual performance. If determining the actual variance, be careful of getting gradually carried away into possible explanations of huge variances that are really just a result of bad forecasting. A way to help in this is to categorize budget variances. That will streamline budget deviation reporting. You can set up categories like inaccurate budgeting, changes in costs, or business environment, and improved operations. Asset lifecycle cost methodology determines the cost of capital to design, procure, construct, install, operate, and retire an asset. Total cost of ownership, or TCO, is recognized by AMP as the best way to identify asset lifecycle costs. TCO is a marriage of CapEx, or capital expenditure, with OpEx, or operating projections, to provide the best estimate of asset lifecycle cost. To realize best total cost of ownership, of course, AMP best practice standard processes and procedures that govern each step in the asset lifecycle must be created, implemented, and enforced. CapEx procurement processes must be redesigned to recognize the influence of pre-operational activities on TCO. So best TCO is our goal, but how can we tell if we're tracking on best TCO if all the potential savings are estimated and the asset might be in operation for 20 years or more? What's a good indicator of asset management toward best total cost of ownership? The E1 spend is the metric by which total cost of ownership health can be monitored and projected. The spend range of 2 to 4% of replacement asset value is representative of maintenance spend in an optimized asset management program, where 2% is best in class. Caution here is that optimized maintenance strategies have to be in place such that labor and material costs are focused on failure modes. Less than 2% can result in under-maintaining, and over 4% can result in overspending. Therefore, it's important to look at E1 as an umbrella metric and apply additional metrics to verify the overall health of the maintenance program effectiveness. It must be emphasized that total cost of ownership is almost completely dependent on how well an asset is designed, constructed, and installed. These elements influence cost of operation by up to 40% of total cost of ownership. Issues within the span of control of maintenance are only 17% of unexpected downtime. Therefore, E1 may measure maintenance in terms of asset replacement value, but it is also an indicator of the health of the asset acquisition process. In summary, the expected range of optimal spend by an organization on asset management is 2 to 4% of replacement asset value. When asset management line items are incorporated into the budget, they can be isolated for tracking and performance analysis. When budget variances are encountered, they must be understood and communicated. And total cost of ownership is recognized by AMP as an effective approach to manage asset lifecycle costs. This concludes the Budget Management Process Descriptions presentation. Thank you for your participation.